Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're doing a June garden tour. It's coming to the end of the month, and so we're going to take a walk around the garden and see how everything is doing. Let's get started. Let's start up here on the upper deck with my garden boxes. Now, if I'm being honest, we've had a lot of crazy weather this past week, lots of rain and lots of heavy wind, and so parts of my garden are looking a little tattered and torn. The garden boxes up here are full of lettuce and flowers, but we're coming to the end of the cool spring weather, and so you can see here that a lot of my lettuce is starting to bolt. This just means that lettuce is a cool weather crop and it doesn't fare well in warm temperatures above 75 degrees. The lettuce will start to bolt, like you can see here. That basically means that it shoots a tall stalk up in the middle of the plant and the lettuce becomes bitter. I'm going to have to harvest what I can of my lettuce and wait to plant it again in the fall. We have lots of romaine lettuce here, but again, we're going to harvest what we can as most of it is starting to bolt. And then we have these two garden boxes with flowers just to add a little bit of color and bring in the pollinators, but they're definitely looking a little tattered and torn because of the wind and the heavy rains that we've had, so I'll have to do some cleaning up in the garden this week. If we turn around, you can see here I have a beautiful tiny tin tomato. It's flowering beautifully, tons and tons of flowers on this plant, and we even have some tomatoes starting to grow. Underneath this plant, we have some peppers, but they've been shaded out by the tomato, so I'm probably going to pull these peppers and try to plant it somewhere else. Coming down the stairs, we have a few 1-gallon grow bags with a few things in there. We have some dill, which is growing beautifully. It gets a little bit of shade from the deck, so it's doing quite well. We have some flowers, some rosemary, some tattered flowers, and some green onion. So the herbs are doing beautifully here on the stairs. The flowers, they're doing okay, but they definitely need to be cleaned up. Let's move on to the lower deck, and this is the area that I call my deck garden. Now again, we're changing seasons. The temperatures are just too warm for a lot of my spring crops, so I have a lot of broccoli down here that's definitely starting to bolt and will need to be harvested and replaced with some summer crops. But if we look over here, we have some beautiful peas growing up these tomato cages. Lots of peas. We have some snow peas on here, as well as some sugar snap peas on the inside. I'm going to harvest what I can. This plant still looks really strong and healthy, so I'm going to let it continue to grow new peas until the warm weather takes out this plant. Right here in this grow bag, we have a bush beefsteak tomato. It's growing beautifully. It's starting to put on some flowers, and we'll have some tomatoes very soon. Down at the bottom, we have a couple of pepper plants. They're growing peppers already. I love seeing the green peppers on the plant. I have a mixture of sweet bell peppers and mini bell peppers throughout my garden, and they're doing beautifully. I have a couple peppers right here mixed in with some flowers. Now we've had some critters munching on a few of my plants, including these flowers here, so the heads of these flowers are missing, but not to worry. If the plant stays healthy, it'll grow new flowers soon. We have lots more romaine lettuce growing on the deck as well, but again, it's starting to bolt, so I'm going to have to harvest all the lettuce. I'll be able to give some away to friends. Hopefully it's not too bitter, and we'll just have to plant more in the fall. Beautiful grow bag of chives growing right here. It's doing wonderfully. It's time to give it a haircut. It's quite long and it's starting to flop over. And again, as I mentioned, I have lots of broccoli growing, but it's really bolting. It's going to start to flower soon, so I'm going to harvest what I can and replace it with some summer crops. And again, just to bring in some pollinators, I have a grow bag full of flowers here at the end of my deck. I love the look of the grow bags on my deck. It gives a nice pop of color and tons of greenery to the yard. Throughout the rest of my garden, I have raised beds. I have two 4 by 3 foot raised beds right here. I have another 2 raised beds right there, 4 foot by 3 foot. This is a 3 foot by 8 foot raised bed, and this is a 3 foot by 6 foot raised bed. Let's take a look at what's growing. I love tomatoes and peppers. It's what I grow most of in my garden. Definitely grow what you're going to eat and what you love. That way, nothing goes to waste. So in this raised bed, we have tomatoes along the back and we have peppers along the front. And I always sprinkle in some basil and some marigolds to just help keep some of those bad critters away. We have some peppers growing nicely. Oh, look, a beautiful little ladybug. But we have some peppers growing nicely. The pepper plants are a little small, so hopefully they grow a little bit more in height, but I love seeing the fruit starting to form on the plants. We also have tons of flowers in our tomato plants and little baby tomatoes starting to form as well. I have a variety of tomato plants in my garden. Everything from cherry tomatoes to larger sized tomatoes. I just love the variety. Moving on around the corner, I have a small 2 foot by 4 foot raised bed right here, and it's full of cucumbers. Cucumbers is another one of my favorite crops to grow, and there's tons and tons of flowers on these cucumber plants. Very soon, we'll have some little baby cucumbers. Cucumbers are made up of male and female flowers. The male flowers don't have a cucumber at the end, and the female flowers do. So you want to make sure that your female flowers are getting pollinated so that you get beautiful cucumbers growing on your plants. The plan is to have these cucumbers trellis right up these tomato cages and right up over my deck. If I turn around, we start looking at the other raised beds that are going down the side of my backyard. In this one here, I have a variety of tomatoes along the back, some zucchini in the front, and some more cucumbers. Again, tons of flowers growing on these cucumbers. They're looking really, really green and healthy. That's thanks to the rain that we've had. And we even have some flowers starting to form on our zucchini plants. In the next raised bed over here, again, more tomatoes right along the back. You want to keep your taller plants in the back, depending on where the direction of your sun is, so that they're not shading out all of your other vegetables. In the front, we have some cucumbers, and it looks like we have some bugs munching on our cucumber plants, so I'm going to have to start some preventative spraying to make sure that my plants stay nice and healthy. Right here we have a beautiful Gold Rush zucchini. Again, it looks like we have something munching on the leaves of this plant, so I'm going to have to spray it. But we have some beautiful flowers forming. We should have some zucchini starting very, very soon. Beside this zucchini plant, I have some bush beans. What I've had to do with my bush beans is cover these 2 raised beds with some netting, because I've had some bunnies hopping in here and munching away on the leaves. They're specifically loving my beans and my eggplant that I have planted in the corner over there. I have a mixture of purple and green beans. We have some beautiful beans starting to form, and I should be able to harvest the beans very, very soon. Again, if you look over here, I've had to cover this raised bed with netting. This is just to keep the bunnies out of the garden. I have lots of beans, purple beans, tons starting to form and grow, and lots of yellow beans down here as well as some green beans. Again, we have some tomatoes forming in the back, and I'm going to have to do some maintenance by cutting back some of the leaves of this tree that my neighbor has, because it's starting to shade out this garden bed a little bit, and I want to make sure that my tomatoes, my eggplant, and my beans are getting a lot of sun. So we're going to have to trim back this tree just a little bit so that my tomatoes don't get entangled within the tree. Last but not least, we have this beautiful little baby eggplant growing in the corner. The bunnies have munched it down a couple of times already, so it's still quite small, but I'm hoping that it's going to make a full recovery and grow some eggplant very, very soon. So this is where my garden is at the end of June. I'm excited to see what July and August bring, and I'm ready to start harvesting these vegetables as soon as they get ready. I hope you enjoyed the tour of my garden and what it looks like at the end of June. I'm excited to see what the rest of the season brings. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you found it helpful, and share it with a friend so that they can learn too. I'll see you in the next video. Bye friends!